So, how did I become a bone reader? Well, let's see. It's not a long story, but it's a little bit of a story. Let's see. In 2015, I was here, home in Anchorage, Alaska, and I was part of a pagan group, and we wanted to have a Halloween party. And so we decided to do something big and have like sort of a ball or something like this. So we worked around a theme, and the theme of the party was Bayou Witch, the Bayou Witch, right? And of course, I got selected to be the Bayou Witch, and they said, "Hey, you could also read the bones. That would be so fun." And I said, "Okay." I didn't, up until that moment in time, I never had any experience reading any bones. Didn't really have an interest in it. I think I might have heard about it once, but not enough for my curiosity to be piqued or intrigued or even having any kind of longing or desire to do it. It was just, hey, read the bones. I said, oh, that would be cool. Now, prior to that, I was already doing professionally readings, divination, and things like that. And elements. So I, fire, water, leaves, things like that. But no bones. Those had not been added to my repertoire just yet. So we did this party. We showed up, and I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be so fun. I had a little table and props and everything. And for me, the bones were props. Where did I get my bones? I got my bones from a place called Moose's Tooth Pizza, chicken bones, if you will. And of course, like I said, it's a Halloween party. I'm not thinking that these are my bones, right? And so but I'm thinking these are my bones for this party. So I had some chicken wings, and then I said, hey, I should probably save these bones. So I saved the chicken wing bones from the dinner. The waiter was like, that's a very strange request. What are you gonna do with these? I was like, none of your business. So anyhow, took the bones home, washed them off, and because I wanted them to last for a long time, I wanted to protect them, so I covered them with like a coating, like, as I did woodwork. I still do woodwork, so I use the coating, the gloss stuff that I use for my woodwork, over my bones. And so after that, let the bones, everything was automatic. It wasn't like I read any book. I didn't go look up any books. I didn't go do any research. I didn't do anything. It was like just intuitive. I just went, I said, oh, these are perfect. Got me some bones, cleaned them off. Everything was so natural. Like I said, it didn't dawn on me, oh, you should do this. You should check this out. You should go read this. None of that. I just did it. So the night of the party, I just got my table set up, and I'm sitting at my table, and the people start showing up, and they're like, ooh, I want to get a bone reading. So I said, okay, cool. Now, I really, I'm a natural diviner, so I didn't really think about what was going to happen. I was just like, oh yeah, reading bones. I threw the bones, and I didn't know what was going to happen, because again, I'm not really taking it that seriously, because it's a party. I didn't really think it was going to be real. I don't know what I was thinking, because I throw the bones. I remember the first bones I threw the bones, and I was like, I see body parts, like people laying on top of each other. And I was like, and I said, And so at this particular time, I only used bones. I didn't add any trinkets or crystals or anything to my set. I just was bones, and I looked into those bones, and I literally saw the situation. And I looked at her, I said, this looks like a love triangle to me. Her jaw dropped. She looked at me, her eyes were like this big. And she was like, and then she just started confessing. And I was like, what? I was like, get out of here. And then one right after the other, everybody came up to get the reading, and bam, same thing happened every single time. Through the bones, I looked at the bones told the story. I looked back at the person, and it was like they each had similar reaction. Whoa, like how can you see this? And so that was in 2015, October 2015. And from that moment forward, I have been a bone reader. I have been reading bones. Again, it has been something fairly easy, but recently, all these years later, because I taught a class, somebody said, well, why don't you teach a class? I said, okay, I'll teach a class. So I did some research. I had to do some research. I could teach a class on how I read bones, but by that time I had come to know and understand that this was a practice, not just practiced by hoodoo and voodoo. However, it's done all over the world, by different religions, different people, and they each have their own way of practicing bone divination, which right now I can't think of the scientific name for it. Starts with an O, but anyways, yes, many different cultures practice it, and they have their own way of utilizing bones for divination. So I did the research, and during that time, I think this was like 2022 when I did the class, or was it 23? 2023 when I did the class, then I thought, oh wow, I can even add things to my bone set. So I started adding crystals and other types of bones, and like a set of bone dice, bone skulls from various animals, and things that have been carved into skulls, So yeah, I've added different things which have enhanced my readings and really made it really fun to practice bone reading. But yeah, it was quite a natural process for me to read the bones. I do not say that I am a hoodoo practitioner, because I am not. I am not a voodoo practitioner, because I am not. I am more of an intuitive practitioner of most of what I do, because I feel that is the way. Your ancestors speak to you, your spirit guides speak to you, and they show you what you do, how to do it, what to see according to you, right? And that's the way it has always been. We get stuck in these systems of these are the rules and this is how you do things, and then we don't what's the word? We don't get better at our craft because we always are trying to follow someone else's system. Like I said, I came upon bone reading. It was natural. It showed up and it was just being done. I think a lot of the crafts that we do, if we came at it with that idea that the spirit is speaking to me, showing me what this process looks like for me, then we would have so much more manifestation of miracles in spirit. But we try to fit into boxes everything. I don't know enough about the practice of hoodoo and the different traditions of African people to say that I am a practitioner of those things. However, I would gather to say that a lot of the things that I do could be from those practices intuitively, right? And I find my own way in that, and I think that's the most powerful, is when you step up into something and you find out, hey, these are practices that are similar. We all have come to this knowledge to do these things, and and so going and learning rules only separates us from the spirit, who is also the master teacher for us to learn these crafts. It's important for us to connect ourselves to our master teacher and listen, right? And hone our gift and practice our gift through way of listening to the spirit, because we work also according to the times, not so much, for me, in my opinion, and not so much in tradition, because now we are different people, we are different humans, we are different, a whole different society and culture. So now there will be different things that will be shown to us based on the evolution of spiritual things and metaphysical things and progress.